Rebellion, the word that mirrors the anger and the anguish of all fighters since the beginning of time, those who were dragged down by systems, societies, false beliefs, tyrants, and authorities. Rebellion is far more than what you think it is. It is not about causing chaos or merely breaking rules. It is the world's most powerful tool that shaped history until this day. Rebellion is a kind of resistance. It is the act of not submitting. It can be an individual's act of defiance or a mass movement challenging governments, social norms, or oppressive systems. Sometimes rebellion is violent, sometimes peaceful, but it's always a statement. This isn't right, and I won't accept it. Looking back through history, rebellion is everywhere. The American Revolution wasn't just a war, it was a rebellion against what colonists saw as unfair taxation and lack of representation. The French Revolution tore down centuries of monarchy and aristocracy fueled by ideas of liberty and equality. Even smaller, less famous rebellions like the Indian Rebellion of 1857 show how people rise up when pushed too far. That rebellion started with Indian soldiers refusing to use rifle cartridges they believed were offensive to their religion, sparking a massive revolt against British rule. Although it was crushed, it changed how the British governed India. But rebellion isn't only about governments. Sometimes it's about culture and identity. The civil rights movement in the United States, for example, was a rebellion against systematic racism and segregation, but it was largely nonviolent. It showed that rebellion can be a powerful force for justice without guns or bombs. Philosophers have long been fascinated by rebellion. Albert Camus called rebellion a fundamental human response to injustice and absurdity. For him, to rebel is to say no to oppression, but also yes to dignity and freedom. He warned, though, that rebellion without moral grounding can become dangerous, turning into tyranny itself. The rebel must always hold on to justice and respect for human life, or risk becoming what they once fought against. Camus emphasized that rebellion should be guided by ethical principles, avoiding the descent into absolute ideologies that justify violence. He believed that true rebellion acknowledges human dignity and seeks to restore balance rather than impose a new form of oppression. On a psychological level, rebellion often comes from a deep need for autonomy and self expression. When people feel controlled, misunderstood, or oppressed, rebellion becomes a way to reclaim their identity. Think about teenagers. They're famous for pushing back against rules, but that's part of their journey to figure out who they are. Rebellion is their way of saying, I am my own person. But it's not just about individual feelings. Social and environmental factors matter too. Growing up in a strict or unjust environment can push someone towards rebellion. And interestingly, some research suggests that certain personality traits like impulsivity or sensation seeking can make rebellion more likely. Despite all this, many people don't rebel, even when they are unhappy. Fear play a huge role. Rebellion is risky. It can mean punishment, social rejection, or worse. Also, if people don't believe their actions will make a difference, they're less likely to act. So rebellion requires courage, integrity, and sometimes a spark from others. Rebellion can also be about protecting what's right. The 18th century English bread riots weren't chaotic outbursts, but efforts to defend traditional rights and fairness. The rebels weren't against order itself, they wanted justice within their community. These protests were often sparked by food shortages and rising prices, which many attributed to middlemen who brought up grain to sell at inflated rates. Communities would confront these practices directly, sometimes seizing food supplies and selling them at fair prices. returning the proceeds to the original owners. Such actions were grounded in a shared belief in a moral economy, where economic activities were expected to align with communal norms and mutual obligations. Rebellion isn't always grand or historical. It can be everyday acts, like questioning a rule at school, standing up for a friend, or challenging unfair treatment at work. These small rebellions are part of the same human drive to assert dignity and justice. So, what's the takeaway? Rebellion is a powerful, natural response to injustice and control. It's messy, risky, and complicated, but it's also a vital force for change and self expression. The key is to rebel thoughtfully, knowing what you're rejecting and what you want instead. So, next time you feel that urge to push back, remember rebellion isn't just about saying no, it's also about saying yes to something better.